Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're taking a look at 20 meaty games that you could easily lose hundreds of hours in.
We've 5 days until the funeral. That's precious little time, and we'd best not waste it.
Before we begin, we publish new videos all week long, so be sure to subscribe to MojoPlays and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Vampire Survivors. Beware of the granddaddy of the bullet heaven subgenre. Once you go through a run or two of Vampire Survivors, it'll be hard to tear yourself away from the game. The different projectiles and visual effects are already mesmerizing to watch, regardless if you're playing the game or watching somebody else play. However, the various secrets hidden across each map, coupled with the handful of DLC expansions, make this an insanely meaty game. Soon enough, you'll be wanting to try to finish every single level with every single character. Kingdom Come: Deliverance 2. If you've ever wanted to experience medieval Europe, well, Kingdom Come: Deliverance 2 will deliver just that. Yes, there is a grand adventure with a story to follow. You can chase that tail if you want, but you're most likely going to get distracted by other things. Hone your sword fighting skills, dabble in alchemy, become a notorious thief, or simply trot around the land on your horse. Whatever you wind up doing, you're probably going to rack up hundreds upon hundreds of hours in this game before you realize what little you've truly accomplished.
It can either put a dead man back on his feet, or make sure he never gets up again. So consider yourself lucky.
I will.
Sid Meier's Civilization 7.
For in peace, sons bury fathers, but in war, fathers bury sons.
The Civilization series is already known for extensive play sessions. A single game can take several hours to finish, sometimes days if you're going against difficult AI or expert level players. Call it recency bias, but Civilization 7 is definitely a game you can invest in for the long term if you choose to jump in now. While the core is the same, certain mechanics have caused the entire community to basically relearn the game from scratch. In other words, play now to learn with everybody else, and stay for the expansions that will inevitably make you rethink your strategies later on and basically relearn the whole game from scratch again. PowerWash Simulator. While we're on the subject of games with meaty expansions, PowerWash Simulator has been going strong since its launch in 2022. Just the base game alone can take a solo washer 40 to 50 hours to complete. The thing is that within the last few years, PowerWash Simulator has been updated with new levels and more expansions. Clean up a haunted house or Santa's workshop, or tidy up more familiar locations from across Shrek, Final Fantasy VII, or Wallace and Gromit. No matter which jobs you tackle, you'll wind up clocking in roughly 100 hours of playtime by the time you're truly finished. Even then, you might have some friends who would love to join in on the clean fun. Take it from me, I have roughly 200, maybe 300 hours clocked in on this game. Monster Hunter Wilds.
Nothing like home cooking.
Even though it is still fresh out of the oven as we were putting this video together, we all know what we're in for with Monster Hunter Wilds. Every game on its own offers up a wealth of missions that will test our mettle with unique beasts to fight. Wilds is more of that, but with the proper setting for a live service model. Capcom has already confirmed that more creatures will be added into the game, and if the monumental success of Monster Hunter World is anything to go by, Wilds will likely have expansions as well that could add new regions. Be prepared to hear people talk about this game for quite a while. Balatro. Don't knock it just because it's a card game. Balatro is the most deep and complex card game we have seen in this space for quite some time. On the surface, this is just a game where you try to play various poker hands, but that's only a fraction of the equation. Balatro demands experimentation through its hundreds of joker cards that can effectively boost your score by adding chips or increasing your multiplier when certain conditions are met. Between joker cards, card packs, and tarot cards, you can find a wealth of crazy game-breaking builds that will turn even the biggest blinds into complete jokes. The number of permutations is almost endless, so you'll end up clocking in way more time than you may have initially intended. Tales of Arise.
You didn't figure it out already? Yeah, that's right. This lady's got herself a surname, which means one thing. She's a Renan, our enemy.
Generally, you could spend roughly 100 hours in each Tales game, be it Berseria, Symphonia, Vesperia, or any other game in the franchise. They are all meaty JRPGs. But if you don't want to worry about massive timelines, Tales of Arise is the game to start with. It is the Tales formula with the most refined controls and mechanics compared to most entries. Plus, the base game and the Beyond the Dawn expansion wind up bringing the total playtime required to at least 100 hours. And trust us when we say that Arise has one of the most compelling stories in the franchise, right up there with the aforementioned titles from earlier. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. Much like the Tales games, you could easily spend well over 100 hours in each Yakuza or Like a Dragon game. Of them all, Infinite Wealth might be the meatiest entry in the entire franchise. Initially, you have your standard Like a Dragon fare, a serious story packed with some goofy minigames and side missions like Crazy Delivery, Aloha Happy's Photo Rally, and Mismatch. But that's just the Like a Dragon third of the game. The other 2/3 of Infinite Wealth are practically entire games of their own. You got the Sujimon League, which sees you capturing and training hooligans of all kinds and being the best trainer like no one ever was. Then you have Dondoko Island, which lets you build your own Hawaiian resort in a manner similar to Animal Crossing. And could you believe everything we mentioned is just scratching the surface?
Let's get it done! Nice knowing you. That's how it's done.
Metaphor ReFantazio. You want to talk about JRPGs where you can truly get lost in the world and immerse yourself? Metaphor ReFantazio is definitely that kind of game. For starters, the different archetypes you can have characters take on can lead to all kinds of different playstyles. As for you lore dorks out there, you will come across a plethora of books within the world that will not only give you tips on combat techniques, they also provide more insight on the world's history and mythology. Between the malleable gameplay and the amount of lore there is, Metaphor ReFantazio will certainly keep you busy way longer than you might have thought.
Hey! Wake up!
Dragon Quest XI: Echoes of an Elusive Age.
We're on a quest to bring sunshine and laughter back to every corner of this drab world.
Yet again, we have a long-running JRPG where almost every installment will rack up hundreds of hours of playtime. Although, the reason we put Dragon Quest XI as the rep here is because it truly is the best game in the series. From the incredible story of your character, the Luminary, to the splendorous and stunning visuals, Dragon Quest XI is a game where you'll want to dive in the second you leave your character's village. And if you're wanting to see every location, fight every boss, max out every character's stats, and take part in every minigame, be prepared to spend months playing this one. Hades. Once you go through one run, it's hard to put this down. Hades strikes an excellent balance of high stress and low relaxation within such short time frames. You can easily spend 30 to 40 minutes trying to escape the underworld, and spend about half that speaking to characters, improving relationships, and setting things up for your next run. On top of that, none of your runs will feel the same as one before. Though boons may repeat, you're constantly having to make decisions to alter your route depending on certain rewards. Garner a new boon, grab a palm to beef up a boon you already have, or just try to nab some gold. You'll just have to work with what's given to you.
Consider that a reimbursement for last time.
Baldur's Gate 3.
It blesses me this day. Together, we might survive.
To see everything that Baldur's Gate 3 has to offer means you would have to quit playing any other game for at least a year or two, and that's a generous estimate. This game is so massive with its different character interactions, romance options, side quests and such, that it took most of the gaming community a month to get through just the first act. But what else would you expect from a Dungeons & Dragons video game? Developer Larian Studios has said that it'll take the average player between 75 and 100 hours to finish a single playthrough. But again, if you want to experience as much as there is in Baldur's Gate 3, you might have to go for a second campaign, and maybe a fourth.
My, this place is fun.
Elden Ring. While we're on the subject of games that require multiple playthroughs to see everything, Elden Ring typically takes the average player around 60 hours to finish. The thing is, that's assuming the average player A, knows what they're doing from the get-go, and B, knows exactly where to go for an optimal playthrough. Yeah, there's no way most of us are playing that way anyways, especially when farming is almost a requirement to get through certain areas. What we're trying to say is, don't be surprised if your playthrough exceeds those 60 hours and gets into the triple digits, especially if you're trying to see and do everything. Cyberpunk 2077. Back when Ty, reviewed Cyberpunk 2077, I had managed to see and do everything in the game in a total of 96 hours, playing as male V with Pan Am as my romance option. Those 96 hours also include going through each of the multiple endings. So imagine wanting to play the game as a completely different version of V, maybe one that's got more attitude or a deeper focus on cyberware, or perhaps play as a V with a different backstory. After all, you'll get a completely different backstory and meet Jackie in a different way, as well as unlock unique dialogue options in certain encounters, and that's including both main encounters and side missions. In other words, there is plenty of reason to go for another 90 to 100 hours. I'm still working on my second playthrough, man.
Alright. Evelyn's a doll. Used to work at Clouds. Sig case on my table's got the address. Take it, and once you find Evelyn, give it to her.
The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Look, if you blasted through Tears of the Kingdom just for the main story, you're missing an entire second half to your game. Tears of the Kingdom is substantially bigger than its predecessor, Breath of the Wild, because of how much there is to do. More side quests, more shrines, more puzzles, more environments to explore and interact with, and that's just scratching the surface. Besides, if you're really desperate to just stay in this new iteration of Hyrule, then, there are 1,000 Korok seeds to collect. Hey, you wanted to inflate your game time, there it is.
This all aligns with what I've read during my studies. And then this, it shows the Demon King.
Red Dead Redemption 2.
What have you done with your foot? It appears to like this place and wants to stay.
You absolutely can play through Red Dead Redemption 2 like any normal video game. For some, though, this is Cowboy Simulator 2018. It isn't enough to just sit through the main story when you can sit down for a game of poker, go hunting, or search for bounties. Or, if you're really that bored, you can try to live out your fantasy of being the most wanted outlaw in the wild, wild west. Everyone's got their own flavor of yeehaws and cow rope, and no matter which way you want to go about your cowboy-themed second life, it is more than possible to get carried away.
There's no way that we're getting out that door. Take this and draw a hole through that wall.
The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. We've seen speedrunners exploit bugs to finish Skyrim in record time, but to finish even the main story is a next to impossible task. It is extremely easy to get distracted by some other side quest, making its presence known, all because you took a small detour into some cave you stumbled upon. And then there's the eventual desire to just wipe out all of Whiterun for giggles and see how long you can go with the guards before your imminent capture and or death. Skyrim literally sucks you in long enough to where you completely forgot there is a main story. Or at least, there was a main story. Persona 5 Royal.
Let's go! Wow! Nice! Run!
We could have chosen many other JRPGs, Dragon Quest, The Legend of Heroes, a personal favorite of mine, and Etrian Odyssey. They would have all been excellent choices. But Persona 5 Royal gets the spotlight for how much is added into an already meaty game. In addition to the massive story, you have a new phantom thief thrown into the plot, our darling Kasumi, a whole new area of the city to explore in your free time, and a brand new palace to bring down in the metaverse. Yeah, there's a lot more to go through here, and we're all for it, while we wait for Persona 6. Fallout New Vegas.
From where you're kneeling must seem like an 18-carat run of bad luck.
There are several reasons why New Vegas would take you a monumental period of time to fully beat. Even though the main story is only about 30 hours long, we all know it's going to take the average player a lot longer as side quests get thrown in their way and companions start requesting favors for their own quests too. And then there's the flexibility in character builds through perks and skills affecting some decisions and dialogue options. Hell, the Wild Wasteland trait alone tacks on quite a number of quests for you to discover yourself.
But you'd better tell me if I left anything out of place.
The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Regardless if you have the base game or a version that comes with the expansions, The Witcher 3 is a long game. While the main story takes up roughly 50 hours of the game, the side quests more than double the amount of time needed to do everything there is to do. And if you're into card games, well, you just might lose all sense of time learning and trying to master Gwent. By the way, this is without the 2 expansions tied into the game. But you know, how many of us own the Game of the Year edition? Yeah, we got a near 200-hour game sitting in our libraries waiting to be fully completed.
No need to apologize. It was nothing.
What's a game you clocked hundreds of hours into? Like I said earlier, PowerWash Simulator keeps me coming back every single time. I've clocked in almost 300 hours between PlayStation and PC. It's kind of ridiculous. But did your game make our list? Let us know down in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to MojoPlays for more great videos every day.
Enjoy the digs, partner. They're plenty fancy.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, there's more where that came from.